Hi, and welcome to the Reiki from the Farm podcast brought to you by me, Pam Allen-LeBlanc from Hidden Brook Farm. I am a scientist, a businesswoman, and a licensed Reiki master teacher with the International Center for Reiki Training. Each week in this podcast, you'll be entertained as you learn about a wide variety of relevant Reiki topics, helping you become a more knowledgeable and effective Reiki practitioner. We caution you, though, this podcast may also dramatically improve your life, and we are so happy that you're here. On this week's podcast, I am talking with my friend and fellow licensed teacher, my colleague, Jill Thiel. She's also an assistant director with the LRMT program with me and a director with the ICRT, and a very talented and gifted sound healer. Welcome, Jill.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
So glad that you're here. Before we go too much further, I just want to let you know what we have coming up for upcoming classes in the month of August 9th and 10th. And I have a class, a level 1 and 2 class, followed by a master class at the Bay. Those are the whale classes where in the middle of the class we actually go out whale watching, although sometimes the whales actually come up and we have a little bit of a hard time paying attention in class because they join the class with us, which is really fun. Also in August, the 16th to 20th, I have Animal Reiki 1, 2, and Master training, and we'd just love to have you join us for that. If you can, at the end of August, I'll be heading to the Reiki retreat in Sedona, and if you haven't been thinking about that, give it a look, give it a thought. Sedona is very special and it's a lovely retreat to attend. So, Jill, what do you have coming up in the next
What
little
do
bit?
I? I have always more Reiki classes. I know I have an animal Reiki class in May at Wild Acres Wellness in a TP, live sound healing. That's a fun class, end of May. And Reiki 1 and 2 in there. I also have launched sound healing classes as well. So there's one in August, one in October, and one in November, or I'm sorry, August, September, and November. So those are also available both all on my websites. Minnesota Reiki Center or Minnesota Sound Healing are the websites where you can take a look at those.
And learn more. And your classes
Yeah.
fill really quickly, Jill. I think of all the licensed teachers, you book way ahead. You fill, and I should have mentioned you're out of Minnesota, and so just encourage people to have a look at those. I think you've already
Yes.
got they're booked ahead already, aren't they?
A lot of them are. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. But there's always more that I
there's
add.
always more.
So if I'm in your area and it works for you, then yeah, take a look and plan ahead.
Plan ahead
Definitely.
for sure. And I love the Wild Acres, the class in the teepee that just
Yeah.
really speaks to my imagination.
A
That
lot of
sounds
fun.
amazing. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Live sound healing and live animals, and it's a beautiful location, and we have a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. I maybe someday I'll join you there. That
Nice.
would be
Nice.
lovely.
That would be great.
Guys, before we go too much further, I'm just going to invite everybody to put your hands together and activate Reiki. And in addition to sound healing and Reiki, Jill is also an experienced massage therapist. And she's going to be talking with us today just about how to integrate Reiki into these modalities. And we'll have an opportunity to finish today with a beautiful sound healing experience. But for right now, I just invite you to bring in any symbols that you feel guided to bring in and just moving your consciousness to the bottoms of your feet and just allowing that consciousness to move through the earth all the way down to the groundwater and the bedrock beneath. And just feeling strong and stable. And take a moment to consider, with the sound healing that we'll experience later, is there anything that you're ready to let go of? Is there anything you'd like to bring in? And in talking about integrating Reiki with these other modalities, are there any other modalities that you would like to explore or would like to integrate Reiki into? And just feeling the light of Reiki move through your hands into your heart. We invite Reiki to guide us now and always. We sing, "Please guide me and heal me, so that I may be of greater service to myself and to others." And we are so blessed to be of this lineage of light bringers who are creating wellness on the earth today. You creating wellness within you. Namaste. Thank you. Jill, I first wanted to reach out to you when I recently taught a massage therapist, and she was asking, how do I integrate Reiki into massage therapy? And I said, you know what? I know who knows all about that. You even wrote an article
I
about this,
did.
and I think we'll put the link to your two articles into the podcast notes. How did you first start combining Reiki with massage therapy? What did it look like? And then how did that eventually lead to bringing sound therapy in?
Yeah, good question. Good question. Actually, I was drawn to Reiki first, and sometimes people coming into this may start with massage and then add Reiki, and some people are Reiki practitioners who end up adding massage or another modality. So for me, my journey actually started with Reiki first. And that was getting sessions in 2000, 2001, and then which eventually led me to taking Reiki in 2004. So I took the Reiki 1 and 2 class at that time, and it was mostly just for self. I didn't plan on starting a business. I didn't know. A lot of us come in, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I just am called to it. And so I didn't have any plans or knowledge and didn't really know much about it. And it was my first class was just with somebody local that I think had actually learned it not long before. So they didn't know a lot, and Holy Fire wasn't out, but it worked. And so it didn't matter. Like it still worked. And some of us have these stories about our first Reiki classes and stuff. And I didn't know what to expect, but after a couple of years, that's when I heard the guidance from Reiki. And after some healing had happened, I was actually in Mexico for the winter. And I heard this voice say, when you come back, you're not going back to your 9 to 5 job. You need to go into massage so you can get more hands-on experience and then you can have a full-time Reiki business.
Wow.
Uh, Originally, I wanted to do Reiki full time, but in 2004, this was something people did, but it was not very well known. And I like to laugh. I think we were still in the social media world of MySpace. And so I think about my time frame of what's going on, like what social media platform was around at the time. Now, like there's a lot more awareness with TikToks and Facebook and Instagram. All of these things provide us with a lot more resources to Reiki than we had, where before you'd go to the library or a bookstore. Now there's a lot of other resources. So there wasn't a lot of information. I had my purple manual,
Yes.
and other than that, it was what can you get out there? Needless to say, I didn't know about the spiritual guidance of Reiki, but I did know that I felt really drawn to go into massage therapy. So when I got home, I enrolled and I went through then the massage therapy program. And I then also took my master's training. So this was now 2006. And so it'd been a couple of years and then very quickly Immediately, I knew I was in the right direction on my path because all restrictions had cleared and the path was open. And now I was having no problems like finding work. And also because I have an art background, I'd made my own website, so I was self-employed, but I also then gained a lot of experience in a lot of different types of settings from spas, salons, chiropractors, hospitals, different things. Eventually then became an educator at the Aveda Institute. That's where I took my massage program, and then I taught the massage and bodywork program there for about 6 years, and also then had my own business part-time. I eventually moved away from working for other people. I always had my own business going once I got started, but essentially I balanced it out with teaching part-time, and then running my own business was where I was going with. And even at that point, massage therapy was still becoming more accepted. A lot of people for a long time saw it to be fluff. But now it was getting accepted for insurance, and chiropractors are using it, and people are like starting to acknowledge it then more than just fluff, that it's actually therapeutic and beneficial. And I was part of that movement of where those kinds of businesses, though have been around, were still not a lot of people did them. And now we know that's expanded and grown tremendously, which is great because it's become a lot more mainstream, which is what we want. So that's the path that got me there. And then for many years, I focused on working. I had massage, I had Reiki massage, and I did that for about 15 years. And
How did you break it down, Jill? Like you said, so you would offer straight massage, straight Reiki, and then this combined?
yeah. So
Yeah.
that, yeah, so that actually, and it's not uncommon. And a lot of you that, if you're listening to this and have been doing Reiki or you're new to Reiki, either one, you'll notice that over time, you change and you shift. You start off, okay, I'm going to do it this way. But then as you become more intuitive, you get more, oh, okay, I can do my own thing. And so the process of doing this Reiki and massage evolved. Like it started off where in my mind, I thought that it was important to keep them separate.
Okay.
That I would have Reiki, that I would have massage, and then I would have this Reiki massage. Okay. And because if people wanted massage, I wanted to respect their free will. But what's so funny is that you just find out when you start working with Reiki, a lot of times it just turns on. so
Yes.
so people are coming in for massage, and I'm like, they're getting Reiki. And after a while, you realize there's really no reason to really separate this. The people that are meant to come to you are going to come to you, and they're going to get the benefits regardless. And because they're giving you permission by coming to you. And so it's pretty rare for somebody to say, I only want your massage therapy. And if
Well,
that's
and
the
you
case,
were clear in your website that the Reiki was available and could be part of
exactly.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, people, if they obviously didn't want it, the Reiki wouldn't turn on. It's good. So this is though as you're getting going with things, you're figuring it out. So I wanted to say that evolved over time, but in the beginning it was very separate in the way that it would look when I would obviously a massage is a standard massage, a Reiki treatment is more of a standard Reiki treatment, and the Reiki massage would be a combination. So in the beginning, I worked a lot more too, like with crystals. I would do all the crystals, and I would do all the Reiki positions, and then we would go in and do massage. So it was like a combination like that. But then over time, as it evolved, I use less and less. Like I do use crystals, but I don't like probably use as many as I used to. It's a lot more selective, intentional. Before it was like putting them on the different chakras and palm stones. Like it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of stuff. But over time, the energy was kind of, it just showed me like, actually, you don't have to do that. And if people want to do that, like then they can. And at one time, that's how I did it. And then my point is over time, it evolved into what I would say a lot more of an intuitive experience that was more minimal. There was less thinking about it, is essentially like now they're towards the end in doing it. It's okay, what's your problem area? Okay, neck and shoulders. All right, we're going to start with some Reiki. And then we're going to focus on neck and shoulders or their trouble area, because I became more of a specialist of what is going on with you, what do we need to focus on. And so rather than let's do everything, before it would be like a full Reiki treatment and full massage, where then over time it was like the energy was like, let's work more intuitively where we just need to work, which I
Right.
could tell the energy could go anywhere throughout the body. It's not uncommon for me to even be working with Reiki on their head and to have them feel it flowing through their whole body. So
Right.
one thing that I've noticed with Reiki is that the energy, you don't need to go everywhere for it to go. Like we know as we're working, you find energetic doorways and windows and things, and it's, whoa, how come that's going all the way over to here? And I built up my confidence and stuff. And by doing everything, I know I gave thorough Reiki treatments before, like maybe more of a Takata style, cover all of these positions. When I first learned Reiki, it was more about the hand positions, covering all those positions. But as I've retaken Reiki classes and learned more and got my confidence and feedback, I've realized that actually the Reiki is doing more and has more ability. Like I don't need to do all of that. So that's how the style has evolved. And so for some of you out there that might be thinking of doing this, that might be how it works for you too. Like you might be doing something now, or the Reiki might guide you to a specific way to do it. And in a couple of years from now, you might be doing it differently. And that's okay. And that's what I've noticed with how I give that. Now, to finish up your final thing was like
Yes.
you had
And then how does
about
sound healing
sound
come
healing. Yeah,
up?
about the
Ah,
sound healing. After doing it for many years, one of the things massage therapists have to always be mindful of is the burnout. And so most massage therapists typically only last about 5 years because of injury or burnout. And so by learning Reiki, it actually allows you to have a longer career, because if you can back off. I've had feedback where people would say, one massage Reiki with you did more than 10 of the deepest tissue massages that I've ever had, type of a thing.
wow.
So it's very specific. So as I said, like became more of a specialist, I could zone in and pinpoint very specific and not even have to go that hard or work hard, like to get in there, because that can be very demanding on people. And even if you're strong and any repetitive thing, so tendinitis, frozen shoulders, carpal tunnel, a lot of these things become chronic. Your elbow's great, but doing this all the time, at some point it's gonna wear and tear. And so that had become a concern after many years. I had become a specialist. It was very effective. I loved doing it, but the longevity was like, even with the Reiki, after 15 years, was like, you know what, you got to do something else. So I have a background in music. And several years ago, it started coming in the guidance of Reiki to start adding sound healing to my practice. And in a few years, you'll be transitioning out of the massage and into that. And that's how you're going to shift. And I thought, oh, it's so funny when something new comes in, because you're just like, but how will I make any money? Who's going to want to have sound healing? Because it wasn't popular at the time. It was just like when I got started with Reiki and massage, like it wasn't popular. I had to be the person to take the leap of faith, because I was very busy as a massage therapist and a Reiki practitioner, booked out several months. And I still am now, even as a sound healer and Reiki practitioner. So it does work. So I will tell you that part. But in the beginning, I remember being like, huh. But I took a leap of faith and I started practicing and getting instruments and things, which eventually led me to starting to bring them in. When I started my sound healing with Reiki, it was the same sort of journey. It looks a lot different than it does now in how I was guided to do that. But it was basically at one point around the pandemic that I decided at that point, that was when I was done doing massage, and that I would just focus with the Reiki, and the sound was when I fully shifted out like in 2020. I actually stepped away from massage. And
Wow.
and so now we're going on 5 years now where I have actually successfully added the sound healing. I started a few years before that, but got out then.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I love that. And tell me something, because each of these modalities work well on their own. And I'm just going to ask you if you can go through what each of them does individually, and then what you noticed by combining them with Reiki, because I think Reiki can combine with just about any modality. And we notice a change. What did you notice specifically when you added Reiki to massage? You mentioned it wasn't so hard on you and your clients would get more from it. And what did you notice specifically when you use Reiki together with sound healing?
Yeah. Okay. So you want me to talk about the sound healing part now? Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying? Okay. Okay.
and
Yeah.
and also the if it makes sense to talk about the massage as well, but yeah, what does we know massage brings like relaxation and lymphatic movement, and I'm when you said people didn't really believe in it at first, I was just gobsmacked because massage therapy in the 90s in the early 90s is what, and it was new then, but it is
Yeah.
what got me through a
Nice.
fibromyalgia diagnosis I feel
Right.
successful. And but yeah, so massage therapy has a lot of different benefits. And then when you added Reiki, what happened? And then sound healing has a lot of different benefits. And then what is the difference when you bring Reiki into that?
Yeah. One of the main benefits that I find with the sound healing is the ability to cut off a person's brain chatter quicker. So, right now, especially, and we're in a world because we're so connected online and social media and phones, and people have so much access, a lot of people don't know how to quiet their brains.
Wow.
And so they're coming in from wherever they were in their busy life and then now lay down and just relax and get Reiki. And they close their eyes and they're like, why can't I relax? And all of a sudden, all the thoughts start coming in. And I noticed that several years ago that even though people might say, oh, yeah, I can feel the Reiki, I can sense the Reiki, things have happened, there would be people saying, oh, I couldn't stop my brain. Like I knew stuff was happening, but I couldn't stop my brain from thinking.
Right.
And they weren't getting into as deep of a relaxation. Some people would, but I would say statistically, more people were not fully able to fully relax. And when I started doing the sound healing, people were going into more like people go into more of a delta or a theta state of relaxation.
Mhm.
So they're actually at that space of sleep where their bodies relax so they can get out of the fight or flight and more healing it can be happening from what I it can amplify the healing because they are fully let go and present. And so the thoughts aren't consuming them and they're actually having more experiences in the sessions and deeper relaxation to falling asleep or almost falling asleep or just overall seeing more colors experiences. And so now I would say, whereas before it would be more common for people to, and even as a Reiki practitioner, you have no control over their brain.
Right.
And people, and it would be very relaxing. And they would say, yes, this is very relaxing. But I would always hear more people, oh, I had some stuff that I was thinking about. And it's just an hour is just not enough time sometimes for them to get there. But
Mhm.
with the sound healing, they're going down in 10 minutes and they're in and they're coming out going, whoa, or I had a thought, but it didn't consume me and they just passed by me. So that is helpful then with brain entrainment. And brain entrainment is like resetting your brain.
Yeah.
And so by using things like binaural beats, they create this left and right brain balancing where to, like I said, delta, theta, some alpha state, depending on that of relaxation to really just shut your brain off. So that's one of the main benefits that I talk about is the deep states. And I've had some folks now coming in that have higher stress and are working with therapists and things that are able to, with enough sound healing and Reiki sessions, be able to, in their sessions, tap into that. Like they can feel that their brain is actually being rewired, where they will say, I've gone into this state now that my therapist would have thought, oh, wow, how are you able to do that? And they've realized because the sound healing is rebalancing their left and right brain, they're able to, in other situations, go into a relaxed state even quicker. So that's a huge benefit right there. But other things too are just the actual frequencies themselves. As we know, if we're listening to beautiful music that brings emotions and cries, and just like smell, taste, these are stimulus response. And so this is stress relieving. And the sound itself, as it vibrates in your body, it actually will shift areas, just like Reiki. Reiki is like a vibrational therapy in a sort of a way, like it's coming in and it's seeking out where you're holding negative energy in your body and it's moving it out. And the sound is coming in and doing the same thing. So you're just amplifying that. So it also is breaking up physical, emotional, spiritual blocks and imbalances that we have, and it's helping to release those. Where if we think about like somebody, like we use things to describe people like, oh, they're very high strung or they're out of tune. And if you notice, like those are things about frequency. And so that's essentially what happened. Like our nervous systems are like going out of tune. And as a healer and a practitioner, we're sensing where is this out of balance. And if you have an area and it correlates with various different notes and things, and then that's out of tune, and you bring that frequency back into the body, you're tuning that. You're tuning that like you're getting a tune up, right? So a lot of these things, go with language that we even use around sound. And so that is what sound is doing. And so really it is adding to your experience and your session by amplifying all of the results. As Pam mentioned, Reiki is very complementary to everything. And so we know it just makes whatever you're doing better. The same thing with sound, but sound on its own is a very powerful healer. And again, thinking about like your favorite song and if it makes you cry and how it makes you feel. And if you have a smell with that, like all of these things are parasympathetic nerve responses. And so you hear a good sound, it makes you feel good, it brings you back into balance. And then there's also different healing sounds that we know about that are a little more mainstream. We've heard about solfeggio and 432 hertz and things. And if you read a lot of the information about that kind of stuff, at the end of the day, sound is healing whatever sounds good to you. It's not like this is better than this. And so, as a sound healer, it's important to listen to thinking about these different frequencies, but sound plus intention equals healing. It's not just the frequency that heals. And so, if you have a preference on 432 hertz or 528 hertz, this is a whole other conversation. It's a question that I get. And it's always the answer should be not one is better than the other. It's what sounds good to you. And then just like the Reiki, just like each Reiki practitioner is different, you're bringing your own healing and your energy to that. And then you're using the sound to enhance that with your intention. The Reiki is the intention. The sound is like the vehicle. And together it enhances and creates healing, but it's not like 432 hertz is better than 440 and so forth. Each different thing has different reasons and why people would choose, but it's not just like one is better than the other.
Yeah.
And so overall, this is why I use it. I've also then seen it enhance things. I wrote an article in the current Reiki News magazine called, it's so, I'm like, I can't even remember the name of my article, but
I think it
it's
has the word Sophia frequencies
solfeggio.
in
I
it.
know is it healing with solfeggio frequencies? It's so funny. I'm on the spot. I'm like, I don't remember the name of my article, but it is solfeggio frequencies, Reiki and solfeggio frequencies, I think is what it finally says or something. But I do talk about a couple of case studies in there. And obviously, some of these benefits, of course, are also from the Reiki. But what I find is like this amplification. And so,
Yeah.
like, things are happening quicker, right? Like, it's just like an accelerant, like putting a crystal on something, right? You're adding a little oomph to it. And so that's what we're doing. And the same thing with the massage. It's you're adding a little oomph, like the person saying, wow, that one Reiki massage was like 10 of this other one. Like it adds some oomph to it. And so it's great to complement anything with Reiki. But you can take a look at the article and read a couple of those case studies that I did with folks on how and some benefits and stuff that I've seen. But I do point out one of the main thing is this deeper states of relaxation, which is like with everybody. And so it is nice to now not necessarily hear people say, I couldn't relax. It's there,
Right.
they are relaxing.
They are relaxed.
That does not usually come up every once in a while. But like I said, before sound healing, I noticed that it was there. Like I said, people love their Reiki sessions. We can't control what's happening to them before they come here.
Right.
And when it's lay down and relax now, that's sometimes when people realize I actually have a lot going on in my mind that I wasn't aware of. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing to know. Oh, good, I've got stuff going on. I probably should let this go. How do we do that? Oh, we do that with self-care and Reiki. Like Western people are a red pill, blue pill. Like, I want results immediately. It might take 3 to 5 sessions. So I'm finding these times are speeding up a lot quicker. So for me, I like that because benefits are happening a lot quicker and I'm having less people, like I said, they're hard on themselves. Oh, how come I couldn't relax more? We tend to pile on our performance. Oh, I couldn't. And we shouldn't do that because we need to become aware of that we're having these issues. That's part of like healing is going, I have these, I'm getting accountable and I'm going to let go of them. But sometimes that's hard to convey to somebody because they're thinking in their mind, I like this, but I wish that I could have controlled that. And in this scenario, the sound does it for you and it just takes them right in and then you don't hear that. And I think that's great because I want people to be as relaxed as possible. It also means that they feel they trust me and that they feel comfortable and that they're in a place that they can heal. And that's why I'm here. I want people to be able to heal. And so sound is a way that I'm able to, like I said, amplify that and help people on a deeper level.
Jill, as you were bringing Reiki into both of these modalities, did you experience any resistance anywhere?
From local people or from
Well,
myself
the
or
massage therapy board or anything like that?
no, actually in Minnesota, we're very open here. So there's no legislation around massage or energy work. In the world of Reiki legislation, we have what's called a safe harbor bill. And so things like hair and skin, chiropractic, things like that are all board certified and licensed. Whereas like massage, Reiki are more like certificates or certification. So places, of course, are going to want to see your credentials, but there's no board overseeing that and making you, meaning that people can open businesses and get a city license or a business license. They don't actually need to have the skills. So it's a two-way, like on one level, it's great, but on another level, it causes issues. There's no perfect situation. And in other states, they have like very strict laws. And so then you might see some pushback and stuff. And so the grass is always greener. There should be some middle of the road here, as far as I'm concerned, because having it totally open is not a great philosophy either. So I didn't really have that pushback. But in general, we know that people have judgments and things around complementary. I like to say complementary versus alternative because I do think that it's not instead of. I think it should always be in addition to whatever you're, but it takes a village. I always say it's not, you're going to maybe be working with other people along this journey, which is great, of healing. And when part of the Reiki helped me to heal me wanting to do things that other people would be happy. Instead, I was like, I want to do what makes me happy. And so, even though, of course, there is opposition on certain levels, it's what I really wanted to do. And prior to that, I was an artist and a designer, which I liked, but I had reached a point where maybe it really wasn't what I should be doing as a career, like that this is what I should be doing. So some of where I had resistance was just my own
It's
insecurity.
internal. It was you.
Should I do this? Yeah. But then there were things, and as things have gotten more mainstream, there it's become more and more well known. But overall, Minnesota is a really remarkable state. I love it here. The people are great and pretty open. And so we've got a pretty so even though maybe I was one of a few people, the community has always been really great and supportive. And I think for a lot of people, it has been. So I never really faced any serious opposition. And I live in the city. And so in the city too, it's always going to be there's 3.5 million people or something in this metro area. And it's not a bad place to start out because it's a lot more open being in a city versus like maybe starting and being the only person in a really small town or something like that. Might be a little harder. Sometimes people might say, I'm the only one. And it's sometimes being the only one can be hard because sometimes it's better to have a few other people because you're not the only weirdo. I wouldn't say I'm weirdo, but it's not
Not
a
the only one
traditional,
doing that. Yeah,
not what I
definitely.
got my degree in. It's a self-employed leap of faith. I'm going to do healing work. Okay, good luck with that. Here I am 20 years later, and it was the right call, but it did take 10 years to establish myself. And because I was newer and it wasn't well known, and then and I've continued to evolve and learn and grow because everything's impermanent. Time, everything changes. Like I said, I don't do the same work that I did 20 years ago. It's an extension of, but it's helped me to be better at what I do. And from time to time, I do have sometimes somebody might come in and go, I got a frozen shoulder, or I got this thing. And I'm like, you know what? We're going to do a little bit of massage on that. I can't do it full time because it will hurt me, but from time to time, Reiki will guide me to work with people and all together. Yep. And and I do miss doing massage. I love massage. I wish I could do it forever. And I like getting it. But if you are a body worker out there, make sure you take care of yourself because it's very important. And so Reiki will be one of your best friends, and you'll have way more longevity if you add Reiki. Because, like I said, you can be more specific and provide less pressure, which is one of the main reasons for burnout is
Yeah,
repetitive stress injuries. Yeah.
definitely. Jill, before you lead us in a sound meditation to wrap up, can you tell us a little bit about the specific bowls that you were guided to get? I see that they're behind you.
Sure.
For those watching on video, you can
Yeah.
actually see the beautiful colors. And I remember when you went down and got all of them and built the shelving for them. And so tell us a little bit about why you chose those bowls and what's special about them. Because you sell those as well, don't you?
I do. And I have another wall on the other side with more. So I have about 100 bowls here in total. And these come from crystal tones. When I originally started, I started with the quartz crystal kind of starter bowls because I didn't know if I was going to like it or not. But I saw these first and I was like, ooh, how can I get those? They're professional instruments, so they're significantly more expensive, but they're absolutely beautiful. And the sound and everything is of a professional level. And when getting started, before you drop a bunch, and it's good to know if you want to do it or not. There's a lot of different directions in taking on this course. So if you're looking at these and you like these, they're amazing. And so my path eventually led me on working with it. I realized, yes, I do want to do this. I really like this. People are benefiting. So at that point, I was guided to go into a professional level of instruments. And it's important to understand that there are different levels of instruments out there. There are professional instruments. And so these are tuned instruments. And some of the tunings that you see, you do see a lot of different things for sale online that sort of promote tunings and stuff. And a lot of that is just marketing and it's not actual. And sometimes you do go and read the comments and that people are misled because of various sorts of things that are trendy. And that's why I go back to whatever the right sound is the right sound for you. It shouldn't be based on some sort of marketing. And so with these bowls, I have the ability to put you into any of these tunings that you want to, from 432 to 440 to 444 with the 528C. That's all available and they're all, but it's a lot of it is based on what feels right to you, not marketing. So these are all tuned instruments. They come from Crystal Tones and they're called alchemy bowls because they have crystal and different precious metals in them, making them alchemy. And then different frequencies and sounds and notes. And then when you play them together, because they have metals and crystal, they're like a combination between a Tibetan or Himalayan bowl and a crystal bowl together. And they create these beautiful harmonics of, because like you'll hear how crystal bowls sound more like a drone and metal bowls have overtones and because of the metals that are in there. When you combine the crystals and the metals together, you get like a hybrid of a bowl. So the crystal tones technology is a newer 20 some plus years old and they come from Salt Lake City. And so they're made here and each bowl is born. So you can't like, I want this note with this alchemy in it. Sometimes you can find them that way, but essentially they have all these different types of combinations that they put in, and then this beautiful bowl comes out and they don't know what it's and then they check it and then they label it and it becomes this note and so forth. And I have all different types of alchemies here, and from things like to smoky quartz to aqua aura to jade and ruby. I have Sedona red rock. I have Sedona red rock, Mount Shasta serpentine with platinum. Look at this bowl. And this is the combination of stones from Sedona, through the three main Sedona vortexes. And then they take stones from the Mount Shasta vortex, and then they put platinum in there, and then they put that together, and then it makes this beautiful bowl. And so, yeah, this is a super grade. And so this is 100% quartz crystal. And the super grades are another level up from the alchemy bowls, and they're the highest level of alchemy. So most of the alchemy bowls are 99.9% crystal. The super grades are 100% crystal. They have more sustain and clarity. They're a higher price as well. And they have some really big super grades, 20 inches or whatever, and they can go really low, really low. The nice thing about the alchemy bowls, they're very light. And so you can carry them around. You can also put them on the body. You want to be careful because you don't want to break them because they do come with a higher price tag. But the quartz crystal bowls, you can't really put on the body. And you also need to be careful because the regular quartz crystals, they get very loud. These get loud too, but they blend and they harmonize in a different way. And the metal bowls you can put on bodies as well, but they can also get quite heavy. And so depending on what it is, everyone has a different style and what they play. So I have most of mine here are super grades that we're working with. And then obviously I have all of these bowls for sale. So they're all for sale on my website. And then I can help people pick bowls, or even too, I have folks that have other bowls, like they have quartz crystal bowls or metal bowls. They bring them in, we listen to them. I can help them add to their sets by figuring out their tunings and what they have, and then help them move into a direction and add. And then maybe over time, they move into having combinations of then professional quality. It's important to have high quality of instruments. It's not the most important thing, but if we're buying things for marketing and you don't know, your bowls may not be what they are, and they're not going to provide the healing that you think that they are. If it's just, yeah, because if it's not what they say that they are. And with these, what is what you get. And I also, if you were going to play in the orchestra, those cellos, they're 20, 30, $40,000. Professional level instruments, a grand piano versus a piano. We know there are different levels of instruments. And so as a sound healer, there are different qualities of sound, and those qualities do provide deeper and more powerful healing. And also things like binaural beats and things like that they're more profound with a higher quality of an instrument, but then the intention as well is part of it, but there's a difference. So that's what these are. These are crystal tones bowls, and I've got a variety of different ones here and all sorts of different notes. And yeah, so it's really exciting to help people on their journey picking out their instruments.
I love that you're doing this. This is awesome. Jill, I've had the pleasure of experiencing your sound healing when we meet fairly regularly. I'm excited for our listeners to experience just a brief introduction to your sound healing. So I'm going to turn the
Okay.
floor over and let you take it away.
All right. Okay. And also you can see I got a couple gongs over here.
You see, they're beautiful.
Yeah, those are Grotta Sonora. So those are from Italy, and they have amazing gongs. So I got to just change the sound here because that's going to be important as far as,
And I'm going to turn mine off.
yeah, okay. And so one of the other things too that I like are these really cute little chimes. I just invite you to close your eyes. And does everything sound all right on your end, Pam? Okay. And take some deep breaths. And relax. Focus on your breath. come back now to your breath and to your eyes. When you're ready, open your eyes and come back. And just take a couple of minutes to integrate the healing energies.
Thank you, Jill. I could feel so much moving and so much happening. I know that I'm going to be coming back and listening to that again and again. That was
Wonderful.
wonderful.
I don't know how long that was for, but just a couple of minutes. So you could see how you can just relax a lot quicker.
Oh my gosh, I was yawning, I was feeling twitches, I was feeling energy moving, and I formed an intention. There was energy from that I wanted to
Good.
release, and so thank
Good.
you so much. And thank you for sharing all this with
You're
us.
welcome. Thanks for
I hope,
having me.
oh my gosh, I hope that people who are interested in sound healing maybe have a way forward. People who are
Oh,
interested in putting together Reiki and massage or even other modalities can see a way forward. And yeah, thank you so much for being here.
thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. And just a note to the listeners, we appreciate you. You are making the world a better place just as you continue to raise your vibration, it raises the vibration on the planet. And Jill, when you were talking about words and how many of our words are connected with sound and frequency, it's all frequency. I couldn't help but think of the word attunement. Attunement.
Go tuning you up, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I
So
know. Funny, isn't
I hope you appreciated the tune up today as
it?
much as I did, and just keep shining your beautiful bright light in the world. Namaste.